Welcome back to She Vets It podcast. Today, we're honored to feature three of the top 20 finalists of the Miss Veteran America competition, highlighting the issues of homeless women veterans. Did you know women veterans are 2 to 3 times more likely to become homeless than their male counterparts? Meeting our inspired finalists, Ilene Clemens, Shannon Savoy, and Cassandra Guzman. Listen to their powerful stories and mission. Hey, ladies, welcome to She Vets It. We are going to just jump right in. We'll start with Miss Eileen. What inspired you to participate in Miss Veteran America competition?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I joined the military in 2014, and I know Ms. Veteran America started in 2012, but it didn't really come onto my radar until probably 2018 whenever I was stationed in Alaska. But I was stationed in Alaska, and I wasn't trying to come down to Florida for a competition. And so I told myself if I ever got stationed in Florida, I totally would compete. And it was a little bit of a flippant decision at the time because I was like, hell yeah, I'm a veteran. Like, I'm totally into this. Like, this would be a fun time. It's in Florida. And then this year, whenever I actually ended up getting stationed in Florida last October, I decided that I'd register for it. I did a little bit last minute, but I decided that I would register, and I started doing some more research into what Final Salute is and found out about the mission behind Miss Veteran America, supporting homeless women veterans. And man, it has captured my heart, and I just am so incredibly excited to continue this journey and help these women who could be me in the future or anybody that I know, because this is such a prevalent problem and it's an ever growing problem. And I'm so excited to be an advocate in the future for this.
Love it. Miss Shannon.
Yes, hello everyone. Thank you so much, Althea, for having us. I'm honored to be on the stage with Eileen and Cassandra, awesome women. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to join. I guess I'll jump right into that. One of the reasons why I wanted to join Miss Veteran America, just like Eileen said, this comes across your radar. And I think I met you on Clubhouse. I saw you on Clubhouse. She Vets It. And then I went to the site and I was like, this is an amazing opportunity. Because when I was active duty, I didn't know something like this existed. So to see women come back, put their dresses on, raise awareness for Final Salute and Miss Veterans America, it was like, why not? When I first saw it, I was not ready at that time to join. I was still finding myself, finding my voice. So when I saw it this year, I joined late again, like Eileen, but I was like, I'm gonna go for it. And so I did. And look, we're sitting here as the finalists, as part of the finalists. So thank you for having us here.
You're so welcome. Miss Cassandra.
Yes, I would like to caveat off of what Eileen and Shannon said and just thank you for having us. I'm just so grateful to be here with both of them, and I'm grateful to be here with my two new friends. The other thing for me, what inspired me to compete in Miss Veteran America was if it wasn't for the female veteran community that I had when I was separating from the Air Force, I would not be where I'm at today. And it makes me a little emotional because I still have those women in my life. And so transitioning from the military to civilian life is not necessarily an easy task. And having that community is, I believe, imperative. And it's difficult to not have that community sometimes. So I believe that support is crucial. And I hope to be a resource as well for other female veterans in the future and to show that resilience is possible. And with resilience, anything is possible. And so I just hope to be a light and assistance and help people. And the biggest thing is, like Eileen said and Shannon said, it's this beautiful female veteran community to be a part of where we lift each other up every day.
I love it. Oh my goodness. I love Final Salute and the women that participate. You all are just amazing. I was going over your bio, and as I was sharing offline, is that a lot of times when people think of veterans, they assume we just carry weapons and we do nothing else. But we are so talented, we were educated. I wanted to find out, what are some of your highlights from your military service to include your branch? What was your role that you served while you were in the military? Anyone can jump in.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, I joined in 2014. I enlisted as a airman first class, and I was able to be selected for senior airman below the zone, which means it's a 6-month early promotion. And then I made staff sergeant and technical sergeant, both the first cycles that I was eligible. And I'm so proud of that. And then the same cycle that I was picked up for technical sergeant, or E6, I also was picked up to be a second lieutenant, and I commissioned in 2020, which requires a bachelor's degree and then a rigorous application process through officer training school. And that's probably one of my greatest proud moments of my military service, is being able to commission as an enlisted individual. It's an incredibly difficult process with a very low selection rate. I think the year that I was picked up, the selection rate was 20% out of all applicants. So I'm incredibly proud of that. And then I commissioned as a 14F, or an information operations officer, which is similar to psychological operations in the Army. And my proudest promotion thus far as an officer is definitely this past April. I had a baby last year, and she is the light of my life, literally the best thing that I've ever done in my entire life. My mom decided that I'm her favorite child now and retired and came to live with me to take care of my baby. So my mom and my baby were able to be there for this promotion, which it's the first military promotion my mom ever was able to be with. And then my husband was also able to be there, and he hadn't been able to be there for my commissioning ceremony because it was during COVID in 2020, which was devastating. And then I was deployed for my next promotion. So this is my first officer promotion that my husband was able to be there. And my little girl actually put my rank on. And man, I tell you what, I was a mess. It was so incredible. And just to have the teamwork and the support of other individuals who have helped me get there, not just my family, but other individuals that I work with in the information operations community and the active duty Air Force community. And a total force, I have so many friends in the reserves and in the Guard, and everybody that has helped me get to the point that I'm at. Man, it's just been incredible. I hit 10 years this past February for my total active service, and hopefully I'll get to 20, but it has been a whirlwind ride. It has been incredible. I've been all over the world. I went to Korea, Afghanistan, England, Alaska, like I mentioned earlier. I'm currently in Florida. I was in Las Vegas for a few years. I just have been all over the place, and it's been incredible.
I love that. Miss Shannon.
Yes. Wow. You want me to go after? What do I say?
Oh my gosh.
Right. I love it. That's the beauty of community, right? When you get to hear somebody else's story, and there's that synergy and that connectivity in that community. So I love it. So I started out as a private E1 in 1994. I'm telling my age, right? In 1994, I joined the military a week after I graduated high school. I was at the MEP station. I was signed up. And so I came in as a private E1, and I retired as a Chief Warrant Officer 4, which for females, it's not a lot of CW4s walking around in the military, but I'm so glad that times are changing. And so my first duty station was Fort Bragg. Of course, now it's called, I can't remember the name now, but
I think
now
Liberty.
Liberty, yes,
Yeah.
exactly, absolutely. So I started out at Fort Bragg, a private in psychological operations. I was an engineer then. Yes, I was in PSYOPs on Smoke Bomb Hill, if you're familiar with that. And so then I reclassified to 74 Bravo. I'm really telling my age, analyst now, all right? And so it's actually a 25 Bravo. And then 10 years after I was selected for Sergeant First Class after 10 years. And then instead of taking the promotion, I went warrant officer. And so I retired as the information systems officer, where I got to have the communications for our division. And I took care of the Army Battle Command systems there. So that was my job. Some of the highlights, I also received the Bronze Order of Mercury. And that's like the highest level for signaliers, where you're recognized by your peers and people in the organizations for being a good technician and being a good signaler. So those are some of the highlights. So, and also the people. Those are the biggest highlights. Being retired now, I retired in 2017 out of Schofield Barracks, Hawaii, being able to serve, being able to travel, my children being able to experience life as military grads, and now them being in college and seeing how the military paid off, sacrificing. That's what I'm all about. Sacrificing, making the hard choices now so that you can benefit and reap the enjoyments, the benefits of your labor later. So they get to see me now in a different role, still serving, but in a different way. And I get to be around women and coach women and mentor women, and also get to be led by women. So I love it.
I just want to say you all look relatively young. I know you, Shannon, have retired from the military. You said 23 years, and Eileen said 10 years. You look like you just got out of high school. You look beautiful.
Thank you. Oh my God.
Yes, yes. You said 10 years. I was like, oh my goodness, what fountain of youth are you ladies drinking from?
Yeah.
Yes, water. Hydrate. Look. And so, Miss Cassandra.
Yes, I don't know how I'm going to go after both of y'all, but I just love being here, hearing all of your guys' stories. I relate to Eileen with my story in a lot of ways. I joined the United States Air Force. I joined the Air Force right out of high school at 18. I'm from a little town from Geneva, Ohio. So right when I joined the Air Force, my first airplane ride was from Geneva to San Antonio, Texas, basic training. After basic training, my first duty station was Alaska, Eielson Air Force Base, Alaska. One of my greatest accomplishments from the Air Force is my very first duty station. I met my husband, my now husband. We've been married for 13 years this year. I met him at my first duty station in Alaska a month after I got there, and the rest has been history. What I did in the Air Force is I was a medical logistics journeyman. I was supplying the hospitals with medical supplies, as well as for the base, I ensured medical readiness. Additionally, I was a professional military education instructor. I was vectored to be a part of special duty assignment. So PME instructor, I was an Airman Leadership School instructor where I got to develop, lead, train, and mentor, supervise future non-commissioned officers in the Air Force. And so I did that for about 3 years. I taught hundreds of students, and that's where I pretty much gained a lot of my skills now, being stepped out of my comfort zone there. After Alaska, my second duty station was Japan. I was stationed at Kadena Air Base in Okinawa, Japan. And I got out of the Air Force in 2018, which I served on active duty for 10 years after getting out. So it was a rewarding experience. So a lot of accolades. I got accommodation medal. I received Airman Below the Zone. I received multiple Airmen of the Quarters. I received multiple Airmen of the Year. I also received NCO of the Quarter. So just being able to achieve those accolades within the military is just very rewarding. And I'm just so grateful for all the education and the experience and the people that I met within my 10 years of service. Like, I would not be where I am today. I'm so grateful.
Wow. I don't want to go behind you all. You ladies are amazing. And that's
Althea,
why. Yes.
Now, can I say something real quick? I'm
Yes.
sorry to interrupt, but I'm saying, look at the 6 degrees of separation, right? So they were at Lackland. One of my assignments was at Joint Information Operations Center in Lackland when I was a sergeant. And my daughter was born at Lackland Air Force Base when I was stationed there. So I just see all the.
I love San Antonio.
Yes.
San Antonio
Yes.
is military. Honestly, that's the reason. So when my husband and I separated from the Air Force, we were choosing what city we wanted to relocate in. And I did a lot of research because, like I said, I'm here for that veteran community. I had a lot of mentorship when I was getting out, and I was looking into different states, and for my husband, different employment opportunities, because I know we haven't talked much about this, but one of the major factors that leads to possible homelessness for female veterans is unemployment. And that was definitely something that I resonate with, not only just for me, but my husband as well. So when we looked into cities, we chose San Antonio because it's military city USA, and Texas does have a lot of wonderful veteran benefits, whether it comes to property tax exemptions for your disability status and a lot of other things like military discounts throughout the city. So I absolutely love San Antonio. It's very military friendly.
Oh, yes. You all do a lot of different things pertaining to homelessness. There's connection with you, Shannon, with domestic violence. You help women that have experienced domestic violence and help women find their purpose. When women get out of the military, or veterans in general, finding that purpose outside of the uniform. I always tell people this is an opportunity to really tap into what have you always wanted to do. Like, you were in the military, you were told what you needed to do. But when you get out of the military, it's an opportunity to create a new chapter in your life. However, you have to really be very intentional about what that chapter is going to be. So it's not trying to discover that when you get out, but trying to nail that down before you get out the military. What career are you interested? Are you interested in being an entrepreneur? And what is the career map or the entrepreneur map for you? Who are you connecting with? Finding mentors before you get out. And so a lot of times life happens where we are not able to transition for various reasons. Sometimes we become homeless. Domestic violence is one of those key issues on why women veterans end up in a homeless situation, because financial insecurity, sometimes being a single mom, you're pregnant in the military, and now you have to get out because you don't have the family care plan which is needed in order to deploy. So now you're out and now you're single and you need to figure out ways. But I have talked to some leaders on a state and federal level that are looking for ways to battle that challenge that women veterans have. Because I always say a plan for homelessness, and it's not a one size fit all. Women veterans care is so unique, especially if they have children. So I'll let you guys all touch on that if anyone want to jump in.
Yeah, it seems there just is not consideration for women in regards to childcare for homeless women veterans, or the considerations that there might be military sexual trauma and PTSD associated with that. I read an article recently about how a woman had been in transient housing and she was living next to a man who was a registered sex offender. And there isn't sex segregated housing, there isn't sex segregated care with the VA. And the risk to these women who have already experienced sexual trauma to re experience it is incredibly high. And that is one of the causes of homelessness in women veterans. Because, like, why would I want to go to the VA where there are going to be plenty of men? Because the majority of veterans are men. The majority of service members are men. Women are a lower percentage of service members. And so, of course, the majority of the care is going to go towards males. But if there's not that sex segregated care to be cognizant of the problems that have occurred to women while they were serving, then women are not going to search out that care or get those benefits that they're entitled to. And it's such an incredible oversight that it's tough to forgive. If I was in those shoes of someone who was seeking care and then ended up living next to someone who had been a registered sex offender, of course I would abandon looking for benefits and then be unsheltered. And it's so tough. It's such a tough problem.
It'd be discouraging. You wouldn't have faith in the system. It's a slippery slope from there. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It really is. It really, and I wanted to piggyback on what they just both said. And I experienced not homelessness. Okay. Thank God I had the resources, but I saw, even as an officer, the challenges of going through domestic violence. And I was like, this is happening. That was one of the reasons why I started my nonprofit and started my ministry and business. I'm like, if this is happening to me as a CW4, what is enlisted going through? What are people who don't have the resources going through? Because you feel so isolated. And that's one of the factors of homelessness is domestic violence. Not having the support system, not having the resources, all of that, all of what we're talking about plays into homelessness. And then, like they just said, Cassandra just said, you lose faith in the system because now it's like I'm being shunned or I feel, and why would I turn to this same system to ask for help? So it's like it could be like a perfect storm. And so that's what we're here to just raise awareness. And then also another thing, and I'm just going to be totally transparent here. I was diagnosed with severe depression, with PTSD after going through domestic violence with another service member who at that time was my spouse. And when I was retired, and this was during when I was retiring, and thank God I had the resources to be able to do that, to be able to heal, to be able to have employment. But a lot of people don't. So you're expected to heal, you're expected to transition, you're expected to hold the family together, you're expected to have childcare, all these expectations. And while you're serving or you're transitioning, it's a lot to handle. And so that's what we want to do, is just raise awareness and provide solutions on and let people know that they're not alone if they're going through those things.
I was just going to piggyback off of what Shannon said, is because just making sure that we have the veteran resources right when we get out of service, or like we have here, that's why we're here, is Miss Veteran America and Final Salute, is to be that resource for other female veterans. When they lose space in the system, there's other options out there for you. We're here for you. The second thing is understanding too, the military and also homeless women veterans, they have very unique needs. And also the military is a unique community in itself. When you think of transitioning from military to civilian life, this isn't just, not all the time is it right now, I'm living in Orlando, Florida. I'm not separating in Florida. When I got out of the military, I was transitioning from Japan to the United States. It's a whole different level of responsibility, stress. And also when you get back to the US, I had to figure out not only employment, because we're talking about the factors that lead to homelessness in women veterans, whether it's PTSD, military sexual trauma, but also unemployment and trying to find a place to live. All these factors roll into one. And so with you guys speaking about moving and trying to find a place to live, I just remember the stress of, okay, I got to find a place to live while in Japan. So that's the kind of thing, is we go through the military and female veterans, we have these unique hurdles that we have to go over and have to combat. And we have to have that hardiness of spirit to push through these things. And we have to be able to have that resilience to bounce back even higher than we were at. There's a lot of discipline that's needed to be able to create this, to be able to get to the other side of transitioning. And I think that having a support system is imperative, like a veteran service organization.
I agree. I was just thinking, when you get out the military with an injury, maybe invisible wound, PTSD, a traumatic brain injury, any of those things, getting out not the same, that could be challenging. And I was just thinking, when you were sharing, Shannon, I think you were sharing the domestic violence and all of those different things, just transitioning out the military, you're with a spouse that is toxic and having to heal, because you said the heal, and you have to have the opportunity to heal. And sometimes that's not available because now you're in survival mode. In survival mode, you don't have time to heal.
You don't have time to plan. You don't have time to look for resources.
Right.
You don't have any of that. So if there's not someone there who's helping, it's tough to recover.
Yeah, or even just like me, when I was separating from the military, I was very fortunate with like I said, the female veteran community I had. My leadership was female. So they understood the importance of me taking the first time home ownership class when I was separating. So the Kadena Air Base provided a lot of, oh my goodness, what is it? Is it not the first term Airman Center, the Airman Readiness Center, I think it's called. Yeah, Airman and Family Readiness Center. I apologize, it's been a while. So since there's the Airman Family Readiness Center on base, and they provide classes, whether it's transition assistance, and my husband and I did TAPS. And then we also did a financial course. We did a retirement course. We also took a home buying course. And my leadership was very supportive of me taking all of these classes while separating, in which I wish that other service members would also have the opportunity, because I feel like that's just important to be able to put those tools in your toolkit before you get out.
Yeah. I love that Final Salute offers financial education, though. Yes. I saw that whenever you're taking advantage of Final Salute's programs, for their 2-year housing assistance, you are required to do financial education and provide a plan for independence within those 2 years. And I think that's an incredible resource that Final Salute provides for homeless women veterans, as well as, it sounds like, women who might potentially become homeless, because I think they have bill pay as a program as well. And that Airman Family Readiness is a great advocate and resource for people who are active duty. But once you're no longer active duty, it's so incredible to see organizations that are providing similar resources and benefits as what you would get if you were active duty, because there's such a community while you're active duty. And then whenever you become a veteran, it almost seems like that entire community disappears if you don't know where to look for it.
I think Final Salute also provides, I think they had an event where they provide resume help. And I think they also did headshots as well to prepare
and the next uniforms.
Female veterans for future interviews and getting ready for that next chapter in their career. So that is also another great resource that I believe is very useful for female veterans.
Yeah.
One to add, in the Army, it's required to take tests. So I'm not sure about the Air Force. Okay, I thought so. And it was something
There's
else.
more than one. There's the Air Force the TAPS was mandatory, but when I was separating, there was multiple courses that I was able to take preparing for separation. And like Ilene said, when you get out of the Air Force, I didn't have those same opportunities. So that's why I said I was just very grateful for my leadership. But like I said, I had female leadership as well. And they were like, yes, Cassandra, we believe in you. We're supporting you. We understand this. This is going to be hard. So I'm just very grateful. And I hope to be a resource for other female veterans and lead them the same way that I had to success and where I'm at today.
I wanted to add something what Ilene was saying earlier about the shelter. From what I heard, not all VA hospitals and clinics are modeled the same. And so I know here in Dallas will, I think they do consider, if you're a woman, they partner with outside agencies or shelters before they place women veterans, because a lot of times women veterans may not go to shelters because of the reasons you were saying, if someone's a sex offender. So a lot of times women will couch surf, or they'll stay in their car because they don't want to put their child at risk. But I know there's
or
a
the
couple
shelters
of
might not offer children.
Exactly. So what happens is they have the resources here in Dallas. Like they will send you out to a shelter that is low risk. A low risk would be a shelter that's for women, and everyone has to do a background check. And then there's security when you go in. I went into one shelter. I want to say it's called Dallas Life, but I went into there and went there and actually did a tour. And so they have it where you have to show ID. You just don't just go into there. And so that's a good facility for women with children. They have area that's just women. And then there's another area just for men. And so they have a separate area if you have a family where you all can share a particular room. So they're out there. So I wanted to make sure that I don't put that out there, that all VAs or all shelters, that they're out there. Sometimes as women veterans, we don't always know what we don't know. And so what happens is we are never having at the top of our mind, I'm going to be homeless one day and I got to figure out where these places are. We don't prepare for that. We always prepare for having a place, not being homeless. But a lot of problems is that these shelters book up really fast. I called for a woman who was living in her car, and I called around and the shelters were filled. So even when you have shelters that have security, that has the accommodations that are perfect for women, veterans, and children, there are not enough in a lot of places. And a lot of times they have to send these women or veterans in general outside of the area. She would have had to travel maybe close to the border of Oklahoma in order to have a place. But some people are homeless, but have jobs. So now you're homeless, and now instead of driving 5 miles to work, you're homeless, and now you have to stay in a shelter that might be 70 miles away because there's no facilities within the area. So the dynamics is so different for every person that is experiencing homelessness. And so, like I said, there's just not enough accommodations, even if it's the right accommodations for our women veterans.
Yes.
I also think too with that comment is when you're saying they're away from work, but what about the veteran resources too? What about how far are they from the VA hospital? How far are they away from the Veteran Service Organization? Because I know here in Orlando, the Orlando VA Medical Center is a campus. How far away are these shelters from that campus for these veterans to get the need and the care that they need? That's another thing that sounds alarming as well when you're talking about like the commute from these shelters for their jobs. I would also think of the resources that they need as well. How are they getting their care?
Yes. Someone called me from California and they were sleeping in their car, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I called around and I couldn't find anyone to answer the phone. And so I just told her, go to the VA. It was her and her son she had a car. I said, go to the VA because they're going to have to do something if you're right there.
It's tougher to tell someone no to their face than over
the phone.
It
is. It absolutely is.
And she said they made accommodations for her. They connected her with their community partners. So the VA, they only promise certain services. Shelter, a lot of times where they're not able to fulfill. What they do is they partner with community organizations like Final Salute. Final Salute may partner with the VA. So if anyone calls, they may call Jasmine Booth and let her know, hey, we have two ladies in the area that need housing. So it's so important when organizations provide services that they connect with the local VA. So the more they connect with the VA, the more resources that are available for our community, because a lot of times people don't know. And so the VA do have criteria that they go through to vet organizations that support it. Again, so the more these organizations are out there connected with them, that more resources we have for our community.
And that's such a good point, because sometimes people, like you said, the VA has criteria, right? Sometimes people don't meet the criteria to go into a shelter. Sometimes they don't meet the financial, but they're going through financial problems, and that's where organizations like Final Salute and those organizations are so important, because sometimes it's the middle ground, those people in the middle that they're not up here, they're not down here, but they're here, and then they get turned away because they don't meet the criteria. So it's so important for these organizations, as you just said.
I agree.
Being in the military and also your experience outside of the military, what pulled you towards Final Salute, and what do you hope to accomplish if you win the crown?
That's a great question.
Yes.
I think that being in the military, you're encouraged to have this community that you build, and not just the community that you build, but the community that you're inserted in each time you PCS and change duty stations. And you're expected to make things better than how you arrived. And having that mentality of ownership, not rentership, if that even makes sense, having that permanent mentality each time you go to a new duty station helps maintain that mindset of, I need to make this place better. I need to invest in my community. I need to make it a place that people who are coming after me will be proud of, and I will be proud to leave. I think that mentality that I have received from being in the military is what I would like to take into if I were to be selected for Miss Veteran America, and try to help out the veteran community and the homeless women veteran community and leave it better than it is now, raising funds and providing those funds to Final Salute so that they can continue their advocacy. That is such important work, like we've talked about and in detail numbered out the problem and the VA issues with the shelters not having capacity and all these different things, legislation, lobbying, Congress, like this is a huge problem. And if me being selected as Miss Veteran America is a step in the right direction and providing that help to this community, then that's what I'm praying for. If it's someone else, that's what I'm praying for too. Whatever it takes to move this issue forward and provide a solution, that's what we're looking for. That's what we're working for.
Okay, I'll go next. Great answer, right? I would say, if I was selected, I would just use my platforms, just continue to raise awareness. I would say, look at us, look at us. We truly are the women behind the uniform. We're not men. We love our brothers in arms, but there are women who go through challenges every day, and we've risen through above those challenges. And so the main thing would be, you're not alone. You may find yourself in any type of situation. Homelessness, it does affect veterans, but whether it's abuse, whether it's financial issues, whatever it is, these situations affect all types of demographics. So it would be, you're not alone, and that there are organizations out here, there is help out here, and I would love to continue to show women behind the uniform that we are everyday women, that we are mothers, that we are wives, that we are singles, we're faith-based, we're whatever it is that you are. We come in all different shapes, sizes, colors, ethnicities, all of that. We're not one-dimensional. We have jobs, we have lives, and that would be the crux of that, to continue raising awareness, to let people know whether it's financial hardships, abuse, whatever it is, come out of the shadows and come get some help. There are some sisters that will rally behind you.
That was beautiful. They're both beautiful answers. How do I follow those? Like I said, I want to caveat off of what they said is, like Shannon said as well, you're not alone. I think that with Miss Veteran America and Final Salute, I would like to just focus on the 3 pillars. Like Shannon said as well, awareness. I would like to use my platform to raise awareness on the unique needs of homeless women veterans. I would also like to raise awareness on Final Salute Inc. and Miss Veteran America, on how Miss Veteran America is the woman behind the uniform. And it's about building that female veteran community that we all so much need. I would also like to show the awareness of Final Salute Inc. and the resources that are available for female veterans, as I wish that I knew what Final Salute Inc. existed when I got out of the military. I think with also awareness, I would want to focus on assistance as well. When it comes to assistance, I would like to focus predominantly on my education and my experience from the Air Force. And I believe that I can help other female veterans in dark times as well, get in through the resources and the education that I've had. I've had an associate's degree in logistics chain management. I have associates in information technology. I have a bachelor's in applied behavioral science. I have a bachelor's in interior design. I have a master's in real estate. So I hope to use all that combined education, and then also how the military has equipped me to handle complex situations. I hope to be able to take all that experience and to be able to apply it to Miss Veteran America and Final Salute Inc. Lastly, when it comes to aspiration, the 3rd pillar of Final Salute Inc., I hope that I could show resilience and also be a face of resilience with my personal story of when I separated from the Air Force, as well as I hope to create aspiration, like I said, with my personal story. When I was getting out of the military, I had a phenomenal female veteran community that I'm so grateful for. When we talk about couch surfing, that's what I did. I lived with 2 of my friends. They actually let my husband and my bulldog Diamond, my dog, live with them. They just took me in their homes with open arms for me to get on my feet and for me to accomplish what I have accomplished outside of the military and where I am today, to be able to run and be a contestant for Miss Veteran America. I'm just so grateful. So I think that the 3 things I would want to focus on is awareness, aspiration, and assistance. And like Ilene said, if I'm not even the winner, I'm just so grateful to be a part of this community. I've made so many friends along the way so far. Our group chat for the Miss Veteran America 2024 cohort probably goes off about 20 times a day. I'm reading it at night. I just love being a part of this, and I love being a part of something bigger than myself. And so I'm just so grateful to be here.
Awesome. I love that. I definitely am excited because I'll have the opportunity to meet you all in October. So it's October 13th in Orlando. I'm going to be rooting for you ladies. We'll look forward to it. Yes. And so one thing I want to find out from each and every one of you, because your mothers, you're doing things at home, and raising children, a whole human being, is not easy. It could be challenging. And then you served in the military. That's what makes women veterans so unique. Not to take anything away from our male counterparts, but women, we are so unique because I know most of the time when men go to war or men go to work and they're away from homes, it's something in society, is something that is normal, like it's what's expected. But what's over the not too many years ago, women weren't going to war, and so it changes the dynamics of the family when the mom goes to war, when the mom is away. And so the various roles that we play, how do you find work-life balance as a veteran or active duty to fill all those roles that you are in?
That is such a tough question, Althea. I wish I had a clear-cut answer of I do A, B, C, and this is where I find my work-life balance. I don't have a clear-cut question. This is a question that I struggle with every day, especially being active duty and having a infant still. She is just walking and getting into everything and is a Velcro baby and wants to be with me every second of the day. That's why I'm hiding out here to do the podcast. It's tough. The balance is tough, and some days work is heavier. Some days the baby is heavier. Some days my husband is not heavier because he's not heavy. He's very fit. it's a tough balance to work out, and it's an everyday struggle to work with the perceptions that other people have of me and the goals that I have for myself. This is my first child. I had her last year, and I am a little bit nervous and scared for when that call comes to serve my country and be separated from my baby. That's not something that I'm looking forward to. And I know that's not something that she's going to be looking forward to either. But we signed up to serve our nation, and these are the sacrifices that we have to make. And that resilience that Cassandra keeps talking about comes from these hard things. And we were made to do hard things. Women, we are strong, we are tough, and we go through very difficult things. Childbirth alone is, I would argue, one of the toughest things that anyone can ever go through. And we come through that, and we're ready to have more kids. Like, that alone tells you about the resilience and the mental fortitude of women. And not just women, but women veterans and women service members. We go through these things, these really hard things, and ask for more, ask for a deployment, ask for a PCS, ask to put on the uniform every day and serve and make these sacrifices for our country. And I don't know if there's a clear-cut answer for balance. I don't think that there is. I think both positions of being a woman, being a mother, and then being in the military require 100% effort, and there's not necessarily a way to balance it. It's some days it's heavier on one end than it is on the other.
One thing that I know is that you shared that you have your mom as a wonderful support. So I think family support, it matters, especially when you're in the military. And actually, even if you're a civilian, having children, family support.
Oh my gosh, I am so blessed. My mom she is one of the most incredible women that I know, and she has made one of the biggest sacrifices that anybody can make, retiring and choosing to support your daughter and her daughter over your own career and your own livelihood and meaning in life. And not only that, I have an incredibly supportive husband who is very close to retirement, and hopefully after that will be a stay-at-home daddy, and hopefully that will help with that balance piece. But it's tough, especially when babies are little, with that piece of how much they need their mom and how much work asks of me. It's incredibly tough to balance that with her being a young baby. The choices that I've made and the way that I have made in this world and where I'm at right now, I would not do anything different. I do not have any regrets. I'm so happy with where I'm at in life right now.
Love that.
Cheers to you.
Thank you.
Yes, that's the most rewarding thing, is definitely bringing another mini me in the world.
Exactly. And it was tough for us too, which is a piece that isn't really talked about for women service members either. With women's health, we don't have that continuity of care because we're moving so often, and we don't have someone who is available to help us with different things regarding fertility, women's health, family planning, all these different things. We don't have those resources. And then on top of that, when you separate from the military, all of a sudden you're trying to work through the VA and the benefits that go through with that. And then if you have homelessness on top of it, man, I'm very blessed to be where I'm at and have the resources that I have, not just my mother supporting me, but also the military community, and now Miss Veteran America and Final Salute. This is just, it's incredible.
Awesome. Miss Cassandra.
Yes. With the question of separation and getting out of the military, answering our nation's call. I don't have children right now. We don't have kids. I'm not a mother yet. So I empathize and I understand the sacrifices that women do make that do have children. I remember the Airman's Creed, saying it every year when I was in the Air Force, or every day, I have answered my nation's call. That is not always easy, and that is not always through a balanced life. And so I think the one thing that I always try to do in and outside of the service is try to keep that discipline that the military has instilled in me since basic training. And then also making sure that I try to have time management. I try to plan. And the biggest thing is to remain present and be myself. I just want to be myself and enjoy the ride and just do my best, do my very best every day. And I think it's one of the core values of the Air Force is excellence in all we do. And I still live by that today. So just put your best foot forward and don't make the same mistake twice.
Love that. Miss Shannon.
Oh my goodness, such great answers. Okay, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you ladies, right? it is the grace of God for me to be able to manage everything that I do. Because some days I'm like, I don't know how I did this. And I know it's only God's grace because it's not me. It's literally not me. And to be totally honest, some days I'm 50%. Some days that's all I have. Some days I have 100. Some days I'm at 75. But every day I know that I remember my why, and I know that I can't do this by myself. I have a loving husband now. After going through what I went through, I have a husband that supports me. We're in business, we're in ministry, we're in all those things together. And I can't do what I do alone. And now I'm on the other side of where Ilene is, where my children are 20 and 21, and they're in college and they're still at home, but I get to see the benefits of a sacrifice. And even their dad, who's an awesome man, I get to see the fruits of my labor now by making those hard choices and through the deployments and missing birthdays and missing the first of things. And now I can say, okay, guys, it paid off. So I would say give yourself grace. But how I do it is I remember my why every day. And then the days that I can't, that all I have in the tank is 50%, I give myself that grace and hold myself accountable, but give myself the grace to begin again. And as Cassandra said, time management, I've always time management is big, right? Time blocking is one of those things that I'm learning to do. And as much when I got out of the military, I was one of those people that when I got out of the military after being in for 23 years active duty, I was like, I don't want anything to do with the military. I want to push my ACUs out. I don't want to see any PT uniforms. And what's crazy now, after retiring, now I got out of it and I wanted nothing to do with it. But now I found myself going back to everything that I learned. It's back to the basics with time, like we time blocked in the military. We had a schedule. We got up early. All those things.
Made our beds. Sorry, I didn't interrupt. We made our beds. Sorry,
That's so big.
It's going back to the basics. So as much as when I got out, I wanted to just throw it all away. Now I see that the discipline, everything is needed. And that's what's going to be needed for all of us as we're on this journey. So I would say the grace, the support system. I do have a great support system. We're great by ourselves, but together we're all forces together. And then the last thing, if you don't have your tribe, build it. I didn't have what I needed when I went through domestic violence. Honestly, I didn't. And so instead of complaining about it, which I did, but I said, okay, I'm not just a complainer, I'm a doer. So let's do something about it. And finding that community has helped me partner with other women who I learn from, who mentor me, who I mentor. So all of those things are important. The grace of God, finding your tribe. If you don't have it, build it, and then get around other women who are all these women, Final Salute, Jazz, women like that who are doing something so that it will inspire you and take you to the next level. But how do you do this? One boot at a time, one shoe at a time, and one day at a time. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I just saw an author on Facebook. Her name is Deborah Pegues. She was showing her Apple Watch and she was saying, just like we plug in our phones and our watches to make sure they're charged when we go about our day, it's the same thing we need to do for ourselves. Like we need to get in tune with ourselves and make sure that we are connected with God, getting in tune with who we are, what we want to do for the day. Because just like you, whether it's meditation or prayer, we got to charge ourselves. If we're just running, we end up on empty. And so that's why it's so important for us to find a routine that works for us, because burnout is real. Burnout is real and life can happen. Things that we can't control comes from the right, the left. And before you know it, you're overwhelmed because you already was carrying a load, and then life happens and it's throwing other things at you. So you want to make sure that you are not putting too much on yourself that you can't handle. And so I've learned, for me personally, I've learned about finding balance as far as setting boundaries for myself, saying no. not putting too much on myself because I want to do everything. You know how when you go grocery shopping and you try to grab all those bags to walk in the door? You're like,
Yeah.
you're not going back.
One trip.
Just one trip, that one trip. But
Up the stairs too. Up the stairs.
exactly. But then you all the arms are filled with bags, and then someone comes with more things. You don't have capacity to hold anything. And so sometimes we just have to carry what we're able to and not overdo it. So just wanted to add that. Next question is, what advice would you give to other women that are transitioning out of the military? Something that would have been helpful for you back then, but you now know, maybe want to be part of Final Salute Miss Veteran America.
I know that I am still active duty, but I think that individuals who are transitioning out of the military, probably the biggest piece of advice would definitely be to take advantage of all of the entitlements that you are eligible for while you're still active duty for the transition. I know in the Air Force, there's a 6 months transitional period where you're allowed to work for another company and still be active duty and still get that paycheck, called Skill Bridge. Tuition assistance is a huge thing. All of the education pieces, like with the Airman Family Readiness Center and other organizations that are providing these resources, take advantage of them. And then your question towards Final Salute and getting involved with Miss Veteran America, my advice for that would be register early. I did not take my own advice, and I registered way too late, and I definitely felt like I started on a back foot. And then also, I would say jump in with both feet. This is something that is outside of my comfort zone, but it is building my confidence, and it's building my speaking skills and all of these different things that are going to help me in the future. And not only that, I'm having a great time. I'm meeting incredible women, and I'm making these lifelong friendships that I'm going to be able to look back on and be so grateful that I did it.
Awesome. Cassandra.
Oh, yes, I agree with Ilene. Beautiful answer. With the benefits, right? When you're separating from the military, my advice for women that are transitioning out of the military is understand your benefits, understand your veteran service organizations that are out there, like Final Salute, like Miss Veteran America. Get involved. Understand that these are out there, and educate yourself on the education benefits as well. Like she said, tuition assistance, understand your GI Bill, look into all of those things to be able to utilize when you get out of the military. My advice to women that are considering participating in Miss Veteran America and wanting to contribute to Final Salute Inc. would be, do not be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. Do not be afraid. Even though Miss Veteran America is a competition, the heart of Miss Veteran America is a female veteran community and a sisterhood. And so when you join Miss Veteran America, that's what you're going to be a part of. And it's all about lifting each other up. And the biggest thing, like Ilene said, is I'm just thankful to be here with Shannon and Ilene. I can't wait to see them in October and just to have fun again like we did in June at semifinals here in Orlando. We had a blast.
Miss Shannon.
So thank you.
Yes, I love that. Love it. We sure did. I would say they said it all, right? What else can I say other than you are your best advocate. You are your best advocate. Prepare as much as you can. Take all the courses. You heard Cassandra talk about how supportive her leadership was. Take the courses while you can, while they're low cost or free to you. Do your due diligence, because there are so many programs out there like Final Salute, the SAFE program, the Woman Behind the Uniform, the VA. There are so many programs and avenues. So just do your due diligence and see which ones that you can take advantage of, and then research, and then also volunteer. I know probably all of us here are big on volunteering, big on giving back. The service doesn't stop when you get out of the military. Continue that on. I would also say stay connected. There are so many people who are on my Facebook or Instagram or social media. Stay connected. Even if you're not on social media, try to stay connected. Get people's email addresses and things of that nature. But stay connected with the community. And then as far as the competition, I would say go for it. Go for it. When I sang, that I could not believe I did that. Because first of all, I'm not a singer. You know what I mean? We're listening. I could not believe when I got done, it was like this rush. Did I really do this? And then to see Cassandra and her dress, y'all should have seen it. It was a time. And then they were so cute. And then I had on we did the thing. And then when you're done, you feel so accomplished, like you've done something because you've challenged yourself. And believe it or not, I am an introvert. Introverts aren't shy all the time. We are people that charge. Althea was saying a little while ago, we charge, we go into to recharge. And so being an introverted person, I know when to be extroverted, but doing that, it really challenged me to do something totally outside of my comfort zone. And even though I speak and do different things, that stage, doing that in front of the women that were there, that was something that was totally unique and different. So you get to meet great people. Just go for it if you're thinking about it. And also, like Eileen said, do it early. I was a late one too, right? Do it early. Go ahead and do it. If you're waiting on something, just go ahead and sign up. You won't be disappointed. All right. So that's all I have to say on that. Thank you.
I am so glad that I had the opportunity to meet you here, but I am more excited to be able to meet you out in Orlando on October 13th. So I am looking forward to that. But in the meantime, how can our listeners support your work and the causes that you're passionate about?
Yeah, for the competition specifically, I know all of us could take a follow on Facebook and Instagram. My handle is Eileen C, the number 4 MVA 2024. And I am hosting a few events for fundraising for Final Salute. And then I also am partnering with the American Legion Post 382 for some homeless veteran causes in the future. And I will definitely be posting on Facebook and Instagram when those events are coming up.
And Miss Shannon.
Yes, amazing. You can follow me on my journey on Instagram at Shannon4MBA 2024. That's my primary platform. I'm also on Facebook. There you'll get to see me volunteering with Katie Christian Center, with different organizations, different events that we have lined up. Yeah, and then you can also follow my organization, Narc Free Living, where I help coach women who are coming out of abusive situations. And I'm also a realtor here in Houston. So I love how those all tie together with homelessness. So those are some of the ways that you can follow me in some of the causes that I'm passionate about.
Awesome. Miss Cassandra.
Yes, ma'am. I first want to say, please follow Miss Veteran America on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and also please follow Final Salute Inc. Please follow all of our top 20 contestants' journeys, because I do believe that every one of the top 20, each one of us has a beautiful story you will not want to miss out on. And also, your support means the world and truly makes a difference. So every follow, every like, every dollar is all for championing homeless women veterans and helping their children. We want to help them at the end of the day. The handles for all of them are for MVA 2024. So if you look that up, you'll be able to find all of the top 20 contestants. Mine is Cassandra G for MVA 2024. Before Miss Veteran America, I was volunteering for Habitat for Humanity, in which I was assisting individuals obtain financial literacy, and they would be able to achieve the American dream through home ownership. I am also a realtor and interior designer here in the Orlando, Florida area. And I am very excited to now be, my primary focus is Miss Veteran America and Final Salute. So please follow, please help us all make a difference. This is a dream come true. Thank you for having me, Althea. Thank you for having us.
You are so welcome. And I just want to thank you again that you could be any other place, but you choose to be here on She Vets It. So we definitely appreciate you. I want to thank you for your service, not only in the military, but outside of the military. We do appreciate you. Again, follow these young ladies and donate. If you want to donate to Final Salute for Miss Veteran America to support homeless women veteran, finalsaluteinc.org for more information to donate and to attend the Miss Veteran America 2024. And for those that are interested in competing for Miss Veteran America 2025, make sure you visit www.missveteranamerica.org. So again, thank you so much for joining us here on She Vets It, and I wish you nothing but the best and good luck on your competition.
Thank you. I can't wait to meet you in October. I can't wait.
I know. I'm looking for it. I'm always excited to meet you all every year. You ladies have beautiful stories. You all, you have a great evening and look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. We hope you are inspired by Ilene Clemens, Shannon Savoy, and Cassandra Guzman. Don't forget to subscribe, download, and listen to us on all major podcast platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, YouTube, and you name it, we're there. Stay inspired and keep shining. Signing off, Althea.